Hey fam, Alina here with the Powered by Iron Health podcast. Today I'm going to be doing a solo cast and we're going to talk about weight gain during the holiday season and how to avoid it or minimize it because it is hard to avoid. And we'll talk about how you can utilize the holiday season as a cycle throughout the year to actually allow yourself to gain a little bit of weight and use that heading into the new year. So thank you for joining us today. As always, going over our vision really quickly. Our vision here at Iron Health is to create a community that raises the standard of health and wellness. And we do this by doing things like podcasts, like events, and just being in our local community and at large, just talking about ways that we can help you improve your recovery, your health, and your strength gains. Iron Health truly is a holistic approach to health, and that starts with day-to-day actions that we're going to talk about in this podcast in particular, but just in general. So what are you doing every single day, whether it's something small or on a bigger scale that's going to help you improve the overall quality of your life? And again, it could be small, like drinking water, a good amount of water, or it could be larger, like taking intentional action and tracking your food intake and spending time at physical therapy for recovery or at the gym training. So here we go with the holiday weight gain. First, I want to talk about this concept in general. So typically throughout the year, it's best for us to think about our calorie consumption in a way that's cyclical. We don't always want to be in a calorie deficit or caloric deficit because over time, our body and our metabolism are going to start to adapt to the inputs that we're receiving. I always talk about this at large. It's not just calories in versus calories out, which is kind of what the diet culture has pounded into our head. So you also want to think about other inputs like sleep, recovery, movement, non-exercise activity, stress levels, and how cortisol and hormones impact our overall cycle, like our body's cycles, our circadian rhythm, things like that. It's not just what you eat. Eating is a big portion of weight gain, but it's not just that. And if you're consistently in a deficit, that can be harmful to your overall progress in the long term. So we want to think about this idea called periodization, where there's times throughout the year where we can increase calories and we can almost utilize that to help us get ahead in a future season. But you do want to be strategic with that. So coming up on the holiday season, there's no surprise that there's a lot of parties, there's a lot of holiday gatherings, there's a lot of stress heading into the holiday season. And we want to be mindful of the things that are creating the perfect environment for us to be gaining weight. And it really isn't, not only is it an unhealthy relationship where it's like, oh, it's the holidays, I'm just going to eat whatever I want. And then come January 1st, I'm going to start focusing on my health again. What I've seen in the last 10 plus years of being in this line of work is the people that have created a consistent lifestyle and are pretty much healthy year round are the ones that don't let up during the holidays. Maybe they fall back a little bit because of the circumstances, but they're overall really consistent. So we're going to go over ways today on how to be consistent. And the first one is to make sure that you're finding some sort of routine for movement, whether it's a workout class or an exercise routine or walking on the treadmill at your house or at the gym, just hitting a daily step goal or something of that nature, and doing that anywhere from 2 to 4 times throughout the week as a baseline. So I love classes, not just because that's what we offer at Iron Health with our small group training sessions, but also because for me, I'm going to a place where I know for that hour, I'm being told what I need to do. I don't have to think about what I'm doing. I'm just going there, being told what I need to do, getting a workout in, getting a sweat in, and then once that hour is over, I'm out, I'm leaving. Maybe it's a half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever you can find. There's a level of accountability because most places these days, you have to actually sign up ahead of time and commit to that. And if there's a cancellation fee, there's an even bigger commitment. So I would highly recommend that if you're not already in an exercise program and you're kind of just doing your own thing, when the holiday season strolls around and there's an opportunity to go out and get drinks, or you have a holiday party or a friend's giving or something, if you're signing up for a class, you're going to be more likely to attend and show up. A lot of people will put their memberships on hold or freeze, whatever, during November and December, anticipating the new year and that as a time to get back into movement. But instead of doing that, you can mitigate your weight gain by staying consistent with those movement patterns and those exercise classes or whatever it is that you're choosing to do. So that would be my first recommendation. My first tip is to find something, if you don't already have it, that's going to keep you consistent throughout the holiday season. We love our small group training program for just that. If you're not in a couple of sessions, the people in the group are like, hey, I haven't seen so-and-so in a while. Where have they been? And that's a great time for us to reach out and be like, hey, where have you been? You're missed in our session. So finding a community that really does help keep you accountable, that makes you excited to go and to work out, and something that's going to help you stay consistent. And again, even if you're going from 4 times a week to 2, that's still better than not going at all. And that's going to make a big difference. And if that's too far-fetched, then join a gym, get steps in, but make sure that you're hitting that consistently. And I'm using the gym as an example because when it gets colder here in New York, it is a little bit easier to dodge going outside to get steps in. But that's also a great way to get the blood flowing. Being out in the cold is really good too. So that's my first tip. Stay consistent with an exercise program. And if you're not consistent already, honestly, if you can start during the holiday season, you're going to stay consistent when it's typically an easier time of year for people. So maybe even challenge yourself to start doing an exercise program in this busy season of life. Number 2 is minimizing stress. This is way easier said than done. The holidays are extremely stressful. Managing time, trying to get to all the things, Friendsgivings, Thanksgiving, this person's house. If you have family split, trying to see everybody. There's definitely, there could be stress with interactions in your family, like if you guys butt heads or there's things that come up that you don't see eye to eye on. Minimizing stress is one of the things that I talk to people about. Like, stress isn't something that you typically see. It just shows up on your body as inflammation or weight gain. You're not putting it in your mouth like food. You're not going to the gym and getting a workout in. Stress is very sneaky, and it's not like a pair of pants that you put on and you can try on for size. It's just there. A lot of the times we don't even acknowledge that we're stressed. And so if you're able to understand what things cause you stress, what your stressors are and your stress inputs are, then you can start to minimize stress. And maybe that's spending less time with the people that stress you out, creating boundaries. And it's so much easier said than done. But it does really pay off, and it really is important when it comes to minimizing weight gain, especially when there's other inputs that might be contributing to weight gain during the holiday season. So again, if there's something that causes you stress, your heart rate goes up, you start to contract, these are signs that you're in a stressed out fight or flight state. Are there ways that you can avoid that or minimize it? And if it's not possible to reduce the amount of time you're spending with people, going back to that workout class, that's a great way to de-stress. Maybe you hit a workout before you hit up spending time with the family, because that's a great way to help release the stress before you put yourself in that environment. Other ways that you can minimize stress, if you are like me and you're a last minute person, maybe start holiday shopping a little bit earlier. Just things that are more proactive that can help you not feel as anxious around certain things. If finances are a huge stressor, that's also something that you can try to mitigate. Just, I think overall, this is a sidebar, is if you're experiencing throughout the holiday season weight gain, and this is a traditional trajectory for you, it's really important to start looking at your patterns from a big picture and thinking to yourself, okay, well, what are the things that typically cause me stress around this time of year? Or what are my patterns around this time of year? Like, am I the type of person that does drop off with my workouts in the gym? And how can I make sure that that doesn't happen this year? So just being more proactive in general. And I'm going to talk about that more towards the end. Some other ways to avoid weight gain during the holiday season are prioritizing your sleep. So another one that is easier said than done, again, holiday parties or staying up late shopping, scrolling, whatever it is, trying to avoid that by making sure you are getting ample sleep. Sleep is huge when it comes to weight, and that again has to do with like overall inputs that we're giving our body. So if you are struggling with sleep, trying to get to bed a little bit earlier, or a lot of the times food will impact how we're sleeping. If we're eating late or we're eating a lot of processed sugars and carbs, our body does the most recovery overnight. And our livers are actually the most active between, I think it's 2 and 5 a.m. or 3 and 5 a.m., something like that. So what you want to do is make sure that you're getting to sleep early enough, giving your body ample rest. And then this way your body has a chance to recover and process what you're putting into it, not just food inputs or exercise, but also stress and how that's impacting the overall system of our bodies. And stress will also be reduced when you are getting a good amount of sleep. Things that can help your sleep hygiene: staying off the TV or phone right before bed. Try to find a book to read instead, even a little journaling practice, or throw a meditation on that's going to help you unwind versus being alert on your phone and anything that could just impact the quality of your sleep. There's really good sleep supplements if you are struggling staying asleep. A lot of people talk about melatonin, but you can use something like ashwagandha as well. Sometimes chamomile tea before bed is really helpful. But creating a nice nighttime ritual will not only help minimize stress, it'll also help with sleep. And that, again, is something that is so underrated for people, and it doesn't sound sexy or fun. It's like, all right, sleep, it's just something we do. But if you're able to prioritize your sleep during the holiday season, it could have a tremendous impact on your weight. The last two things I want to talk about, one is alcohol intake, right? And just overall food indulgences. I did talk about periodization, so allowing ourselves to increase our caloric intake, but also doing that intentionally, and also drinking alcohol intentionally. For some people, it's a social thing. If you're drinking 4 nights out of the week, you're going to gain weight. You're going to become inflamed. Alcohol is all sugar, so that is going to have a negative impact on your weight. If you know you have a lot of parties coming up, and you have your family party, a work party, a friend party, all these things, or just even gathering with friends so you could do a little gift exchange, whatever it is, making sure that you're looking at your week ahead and deciding, I don't really need to drink at this event. Like, just because everybody else is drinking doesn't mean that you have to. And if that's really hard for you to do, maybe you don't go to that event in general, because usually what happens when you're drinking is if there's food around, you're also snacking, and that's going to increase weight gain as well. So just being really intentional with alcohol intake, food intake, and being mindful of what it is that you're putting into your mouth on the days that you're attending gatherings. And if you know that you're going to go to a gathering, you can also prep your day earlier on so that when you are there, there's just less overall input of foods that are not going to be good for you, that are going to cause inflammation, that are going to make you gain weight. Things like foods with added sugars, high in carbs, high in fats. Try to front load your day with protein and fats. And then if you do end up eating carbs later on, that's okay. Just knowing, and again, being intentional with your day of food intake, because that is where people will also experience an increase in weight. They'll start their day with a carb for breakfast, carb for lunch, and then they'll go out and have alcohol, food that is usually cooked in seed oils and fats, and then carbs around that too. So front load your day with protein. Think about getting protein in, or if you're at a gathering that has an abundance of food, think about, okay, what food here is higher in protein? That's being really strategic with what you're doing throughout the holiday season. I think it's really important to remember, we go to these parties and there's like this indulgence, that indulgence, and there's so many things coming at us. It's going to be there at the next party. It might not be the same exact cannoli or the same exact cocktail or whatever, but there's going to be more of that later. And during the holiday season, we get into this mindset of, well, it's the holidays, I'm just going to eat whatever I want, drink whatever I want, and then the New Year's, it's going to come by and I'll get focused and get on track there. But the reality is you can be more strategic during the holiday season. Yes, you can allow yourself to indulge, but overindulging is going to lead to increased weight. And then you're going to have more work to do in the new year anyway. So why wait instead of just being a little bit more strategic, a little bit more intentional, and then you don't have to worry about getting more weight off and honing in your habits even more so come January. Something I mentioned earlier, and the last thing I'm going to wrap up with, is big picture. The holidays kicks off with Halloween, and the few weeks leading up to Halloween, there's candy everywhere. You go here, there's a little candy. Here, there's a little candy. Your kids' candy. The office has leftover candy from people's kids trick-or-treating. And then that is the start of 2 months consecutively where there's just a free-for-all of food, beverages, and a drop-off in activity, because especially here in New York, it starts to get colder. People are outside less. There's more social outings. There's more distractions. So what I would challenge you to do, especially if you're listening to this podcast, is look at your history or look at your patterns historically and determine what one of those things, minimizing stress, prioritizing sleep, being super intentional with food and alcohol intake and exercise, which one of those things is what you struggle with the most during the holiday season. And I would prioritize focusing on that, because that's most likely going to be the thing that's probably causing you to gain the most weight. And maybe you choose 2 of those things, but look at your patterns historically. What are the things that you experience typically? For me, I know it's my stress levels during the holidays because, like I mentioned earlier, I'm a last minute person. So I'm buying Christmas gifts up until 2 days beforehand, and I'm losing sleep over it. I'm trying to figure out where I can get this thing from that I should have ordered weeks or months ago so that it's here in time, then wrapping those presents and making sure they're ready for whoever's house I'm going to, right? And if I just literally started ordering gifts now at the time of this recording, that probably wouldn't be the case. Movement for me is super, super habitual. And so that's not something that I really struggle with. But if it is something that you struggle with, try to make that the thing that you actually focus on. And if you are a person that likes to focus on low-hanging fruit, then maybe something that's a little bit easier for you to do, but might not be the thing that you struggle the most with. But I would still suggest choosing whatever one of those 4 things are going to be the biggest challenge for you. And again, looking at your historical pattern in the holiday season, what is it that you typically find yourself struggling with so that you can get ahead of a holiday weight gain? And for some people, again, another example would be food indulgences. That's huge. That's what I see the most of. People just I don't know if it's a lack of knowledge or a desire to commit to being intentional around food and alcohol intake. But generally speaking, and if you're somebody that struggles with this and overindulging, really try to focus on, these are just a couple of nutritional tips, protein-based foods again, and prioritizing protein, looking at your day, asking yourself, where am I getting protein in? And then protein and fats take longer to digest, so healthy fats as well are important. You want to have an idea of what that looks like in terms of fats, because it's really easy to overeat the amount of fats that we need. And then you also want to consider, along with that, what your week in general looks like. You can be very diligent and intentional Monday through Friday, and Saturday, Sunday completely destroy all of the progress and the intention that you set for yourself earlier in the week. So I'm not a big fan of the word cheat meals, but if you're thinking about what events you have coming up, being intentional, making sure you're getting protein, healthy fats in, knowing that things like sweets at a party, cocktails, there's always carbs everywhere. There's an abundance of carbs. Anything that you put in your mouth, almost everything has carbs. So just being mindful of minimizing those things earlier in the day so that later on, if you're going to an evening party, you can indulge. And again, just minimizing alcohol where you can too. You don't have to drink at every event. Know that there's going to be mocktails at the next one. There's going to be dessert at the next one. Try to be mindful of that so that you aren't in a state of, oh, I'm going to eat this now because it's here and I'm never going to have a chance to eat something like this again. That's not the case. And your body will thank you. Your mind will thank you. everything else will come together. And it's such a good feeling knowing you chose wisely when it comes to situations like this, because you are truly getting ahead of that weight gain during the holiday season, which is huge. The holiday season is a time when on average most people will gain around 15 pounds. A lot of it's inflammation and a lot of it can be avoided. So whatever one of those things that you're struggling with, we are here to help. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know. What are you struggling with? Are you struggling with stress? Do you even know that you're experiencing stress? Are you struggling with food choices and what to eat and not knowing what to eat? We can help you with that too. We love giving guidance on food, nutrition, stress management techniques, obviously recovery and fitness. That's what we do. That's what we're really, really, really good at. But again, Iron Health is all about the holistic approach, and it's not just going to be movement for us. It's also things like what you're putting in your mouth, how you're sleeping. Sleep is huge for recovery, not just weight gain. It's huge for recovery for our patients, and it's also huge for fitness gains for our members when it comes to small group. So we really do like to focus on everything. It's not a you do one thing and everything else falls into place. You really need to have a approach in general where you're kind of hitting things from all different angles. And because everybody's different, you really need to understand what that angle is for you. My struggles, my challenges are going to be different than your struggles and your challenges. And it's really important to understand what those are so that you can work on your weaknesses. And that's what we're here to help you do. We always sit down with our patients and our members one-to-one before they begin their plan of care or before they begin a strength program with us. And we talk to them about their day-to-day life and what they're seeing their biggest struggles with so that we can help identify what is the best approach for them and give you specific actions, habits, exercises, whatever it is that you're seeking to improve your quality of life, and make sure it's custom to you, because no two people are the same. Our lifestyles are not the same. And it's really easy to sit on social media and be like, oh, I need this thing. I need this thing. I need that, without actually knowing what you truly need for you, your lifestyle, your body, and your goals. So again, we'd love to hear from you. If you listen to this podcast, I'd love to know, what are the things that you're struggling with during the holidays? What do you find yourself spinning your wheels at every single year? Maybe it's not even the holidays. Maybe it's the summer months when you're traveling, or maybe it's just traveling in general. But we are talking about weight gain during the holidays. So if there's something that you're struggling with in particular, I'd love to hear from you. We'd love to give you some tips on how to help manage and mitigate that. And we'd also love to just sit down with you, learn a little bit more about you, your health, your lifestyle, your goals. This way we can just help you come up with a better plan of care and a better approach for you and your goals. Thanks for tuning in today. Alina with Iron Health.